Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome to the United Truth. Yeah, so it's been a hectic couple of days. Gyms are reopening, PT, I've just been real busy. But I've been meaning to pull out this video to discuss tonight's match. Absolutely huge game for many reasons. I want to go through tonight's match, go through the injuries and the non-injuries. Just discuss what I think might happen tonight and how I want us to play. So, yeah, first and foremost, tonight's game is absolutely. I can't say how important tonight's game is. We don't want to be going into the last game against Leipzig away, knowing that we need a win, knowing that we need a draw or anything like that. At the end of the day, I don't think that we've shown enough consistency to say that we can be really confident. I know that we've won 8 away games in a row, but we've gone behind in a lot of those games, and luck does run out in the end. So tonight's game is absolutely huge for loads of reasons. It's also huge. We've got the Manchester derby coming up. We've got obviously West Ham this week, but we've got the Manchester derby coming up. We've got some big games coming up, nice, thick and fast. So a win today would mean, I say rest players, but it just means that you can bring in players that, like I'm going to go into later, there's players that are coming back that will need the games, that might not necessarily be playing in the most important ones initially, but they are first teamers. So it's absolutely imperative that we do win tonight. A draw should be enough, I believe, unless we get destroyed by Leipzig. But I think going for the win is really important. So on the injury front, because I was supposed to post this yesterday. So on the injury front, a little bit more news has come out. So there's been a confirmation of what the squad is. So if I'd done the video yesterday, I wouldn't have had the information that I've got now when it comes to one of the players. So Ole yesterday was just discussing that basically everyone's pretty much fit, but the one player that he wasn't too sure about, might be touch and go, was Luke Shaw. So he's obviously training with the first team, but he said he was touch and go. So what's been announced today, or not announced, but it's in the squad, Luke Shaw wasn't in that squad. Now that, for me, changes a lot of what I was thinking we was going to do tonight, if I'm completely honest. So there is a little bit of a competition on how we want to start this game, because for me, I know it was away from home, but the way that we set up with the three at the back, it suits us. It allowed us to play with 2 strikers. It made sure that there was enough cover to stop Mbappe. So even though I know that Tuanzebe got all the plaudits, Wan-Bissaka was there as well, covering as well. There was working in tandem to stop the threat of Mbappe, and I just think he is that dangerous. What worries me tonight is that there might just be a air of, I wouldn't say arrogance, but confidence that all of a sudden Lindelof and Maguire, they can play as a 2 and stuff like that, because we've won a few games in a row and everyone's feeling very confident. But for me, that is a huge, huge worry for me personally. So for me, if we're looking at the 3 at the back, so Tuanzebe is injured, and we've got Bailly, who's come from injury. So for me, Bailly would automatically replace Tuanzebe. For me personally, let me go through my starting lineup. For me personally, I would continue with the 3 at the back. And the way that I would do it would be, I'd play Boye instead of Tuanzebe. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka. I'd play Maguire instead of Lindelof. Lindelof's been complaining with a bad back. So for me, if you've been complaining with a bad back, this might potentially be the game to give it a rest, because if you're the first choice centre-back pairing, part of the first choice centre-back pairing, then I would say rest for West Ham. That is not going to be an easy game, and this might be the game to do it. I know that we are at home, but I don't really trust our defence at the moment. And then next centre-back, then it's one of those where you start to scratch your head. You're then looking at, like, I know that Fosu Mensah's there and so on and so forth. So before, it was only just before I came out and I noticed that Luke Shaw wasn't wasn't available. So it might be a situation where we might then have to draft in a Timothy Fosu-Mensah and pay Bailly, Maguire, and Fosu-Mensah as extra pace at the back. I know that that's going to get pelters, but for me, I still just don't trust our team. That's not saying that PSG are on the best of form, but even not on the best of form, when we played in France, they were still dangerous. It seemed like they was getting through our midfield. Like it seemed like when Neymar got the ball, I know that we took him out a few times, but he still worries me. Maybe it's because I still don't trust in this team at the moment. So maybe that's extremely negative. So leave your comments at the bottom if you think that's quite negative, and I can understand if you did. But that would be for me. I would have to find another third centre back to play at the back now that I know that Luke Shaw's injured. Then you've got Alex Telles. You're playing Alex Telles as the left wing back. Going into midfield, definitely Fred. Fred is the go-to guy out of all the players at the moment, apart from Bruno. Fred is the second go-to guy for Ole. He's someone who is not letting him down. When he's needed him, he hasn't let him down, and he's been a starter in all of these big games. So Fred would have to start. It looks like McTominay's fit, so the energy rather than Matic. Probably save Matic for West Ham. But we can make 5 subs, which again is quite important. Then for me, you play Van der Beek as the 10. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky. You play Van der Beek as the 10, so this sounds really defensive. And then you'll play Bruno playing just off Marcus Rashford. That would be how I would play it. Because for me, that's then still inviting. It's inviting PSG onto us. Then hopefully Marcus Rashford can do something in that game in that game on the break. Now, another way to look at it, if I don't get too excited about how we've been playing, but if I'm honest with how I would want to play, with Manchester United being at our best, my starting lineup would be like this. It would be Wan-Bissaka, it would be Maguire with Lindelof, and it would be Alex Telles, obviously De Gea in goal. Then I would have it as a 4-3-3. So it would be, for me, it would be Fred, it would be McTominay, and it would be Van der Beek again. And what I would have is I'd have... I wouldn't start with Cavani. I would have Bruno on the right. I think he can do a job on the right, believe it or not. I think he drifts into the middle anyway, and I think he can do a real big job interlinking with Van der Beek. I'd play Martial down the middle, and I'd play Marcus Rashford on the left. That would be my team, personally. Because you've got 5 subs to make. So then we've got another option where we can bring in Cavani, play it like we did against Istanbul last game, put Marcus Rashford on the right and put Martial on the left and Cavani to straight down the centre. If it's not working in the midfield, you can Bruno back into the midfield. If we need to attack or if we're behind or anything like that, you can put Van der Beek in the midfield instead of McTominay, and just easy ways to manoeuvre it. So you've got 2 different sort of starting lineups from me. So you've got ultra defensive, thinking about, counter-attacking and just worried about our defence. But then you've got one where I'm sticking my chest out and saying, listen, we're still Manchester United. We've got a top team. All these players will perform. And if they do perform, then why don't we go toe-to-toe? Why don't we go toe-to-toe? Like, they've got Neymar and Mbappe, but we've got plenty of players ourselves. I mean, they've got somebody who right now wouldn't get into our midfield in, say, Herrera. We've got someone like Pogba who's on the bench who can always bring on, who probably be on the bench, who can always bring on as well, who is one of the best players in the world. So my thing was that we've always had a great team, like for the last year. For me, the squad's always been pretty strong. We just haven't got the best out of it. So, like I said, defensive, that's my brain thinking defensively. But my hope is that, yes, we're going out to attack. And if it was that selection, I would have nothing to say. If it was a selection where you've got Van der Beek in, when you've got Bruno in, where it's a straight up attack, you've got Martial, you've got Rashford, and you're going for it, I'll be happy with that as well. So it's not a case of we need to start with that formation and that starting line that says first. But for me, this is just me being slightly pessimistic and worried that we're going to get into this game, lose it, and then worry about, going into a final group game. But could literally finish it off tonight. So there's like a quiet confidence. There's a quiet confidence. I think against Southampton, I was listening to some of the highlights on the Southampton game, and it was from the Southampton channel, I think it was. And it was just giving it a different perspective. So when they were discussing the game, they were sensing that Manchester United was on top from the start, from minute 1 to minute 20 or whatever before they started. So I think that got kind of missed because we went 2 goals down. But the fact of the matter is, I'm normally quite, when we went 2-0 down, I was messaging my mate and I was just like, James Ward-Prowse has done a mad one and stuff like that. But I always felt if we got the next goal, we'll go on to potentially get a draw or win. And it was because we was playing quite well. So apart from the Albion game, we have been on a little bit of good form. We beat Istanbul. That was quite an easy game. And yes, then we're going into this game. We beat Southampton. Going into this game now, we've got every single player back apart from Luke Shaw. So the confidence has to be there. And when you look at PSG, their last few games, I think they lost to Monaco and I think they drew the last game. It seems to me, and I don't want to get too confident, but at the end of the day, it seems to me that the wheels are falling off a little bit with them. The manager, are they still buying into the manager? The manager's talked up Manchester United, so is he thinking about his future because he's in a precarious position, potentially being knocked out of the Champions League? And for PSG, who got to the final last year, that would be like horrendous. They're supposed to win the league, but the Champions League is the one which the owners thinks will put them even bigger on a global stage. It'll be absolutely huge for them. So they're a little bit of a funny one. Obviously, they've got that rat playing on the right-hand side, Di Maria, and I'm sure that he'd love to cause some damage or whatever. But at the end of the day, we should really go there. We should really go into the game with a lot of confidence. We are the home team. So pessimistic me and confident me, I'm hoping that confident me wins the day and we do go attacking and we just go, we stick our chest out and we say, let's go toe to toe and let's see what we got. And I think he'll tell us a lot about Manchester United in general. Can we play 4 at the back against these top teams? That's quite interesting. Have we proven it yet? Not necessarily. So yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. Obviously, their danger men is Neymar and Mbappe. But one thing, what we can do and what we know about Neymar is that the way that I saw, I think it was Liverpool, where all they did was literally bombard them from the fullbacks, bombing on because they just knew Neymar wasn't going to chase back. Mbappe he's not going to do as much work as, say, normal attackers would do. So that plays into a lot of teams' hands as well. So yes, you might not have the technical ability of, say, a Neymar and Mbappe, but if you've got ability and you're prepared to work harder, sometimes you're more effective on the pitch. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be good to see Herrera back. United, I wouldn't say legend, but when the going got tough, he really did buy into Manchester United and stuff like that. So I'm not sure that he was treated the best when he left. But at the end of the day, we've moved on. He's moved on, got to a Champions League final. And, we're back in the Champions League. So it's all worked out for both. So it looks as though going into the game, it looks like we've got everybody back fit. I want to know what people think. What does everyone think what our starting lineup should be? Should we be looking to try to shop a little bit, or do we just need to go for it a little bit more? And do I need to have a little bit more trust in the manager and trust in these players? So yeah, smash a like, guys, and subscribe. And I'm on to the next one. See you later, guys. See you later.